Well, many are still on a high after the Super Bowl on Sunday night, but concerns still remain about injuries sustained on the field. And since retiring in 2010 from a successful 19-year-long career in the NFL, former quarterback and Hall of Famer Brett Favre has been outspoken on the issue of brain injuries and concussions. Brett Favre joins us live now on here National Report. Brett, good to see you. I know you brought Dr. Jacob Van Landingham, founder and president of Prevacus, joining us as well. Good to have all of you here. Brett, I want to start with you on this. I want to get your reaction to this Sunday. If I understand this correctly, I saw pictures of you at the game. You got to witness Tom Brady making his 10th Super Bowl appearance. He's won 7 now. How do you feel about what Tom Brady's done now at the age of 43?
Well, what he's done is something that we will never see again in our lifetime. And guy's just an unbelievable player. The greatest competitor. I think one of his greatest assets is his competitive nature. He's the most accurate passer. He's the best pocket present quarterback there is. And that's why Tampa Bay got him. It's simple. He did all the things that they had hoped and expected him to do. Most importantly, leading them to a Super Bowl victory.
Yeah, it was something to watch. It absolutely was. And, Doctor, before I get to you, I just want to ask Brett this question because, as you know, football is known to be one of the toughest contact sports, resulting in numerous injuries that we've seen, specifically the past season, too. And we know when the NFL tests for a concussion specifically, as we're talking about chronic traumatic encephalopathy, or CTEs, they go through this exam that you see on your screen, including a cervical spine exam, evaluation of speech, observation of gait, etc. Brett, I know you've expressed how you've probably suffered so many concussions while playing. The biggest question that many people have are, what are some of the lasting effects from too many concussions moving forward in life, and what have you experienced?
Well, I think it's different for everyone. There's not one particular thing that I think each and every player or person who has had multiple concussions can say that is similar to the next. I think what we're seeing is former players, most importantly, committing suicide, completely forgetting their wife's name, where their keys are, how to get home, or just various illnesses that, for example, Dwight Clark died of ALS. Now, is that because of concussions? It's hard to say, but we know that ALS, one of the things that contributes to it, or could potentially contribute to it, is head trauma. So you got to believe, as many times as he's been hit, that's a contributor to his ALS. So I personally can't say exactly that I've had symptoms of concussions, but then again, there are some memory issues that I've had, some dizziness at times, but you can easily write it off as being over 50, like most people do. So it's really, that's the thing about concussions, is there's so many factors that go into it.
Well, I know you've taken some hits. I've watched your games. Dr. Van Landingham, I want to bring you into this. I know your company's been developing a drug called Prevacus, I believe, that can be used to treat concussions and other brain injuries. Layman's terms, for viewers that are watching, and maybe those a part of the football club, how does this work?
Well, thank you. It works as a neurosteroid, and we give it nasally. We can get it in the brain within 5 minutes in the preclinical work that we've done. Once it gets to the brain, it enters into the nucleus, or the interior part of these cells that have been traumatized. It gets in there and through what's called DNA amplification produces proteins that reduce inflammation, reduce swelling, and reduce what's known as oxidative stress in those traumatized cells. So we can get it there quickly, and it's going to work like a cocktail of drugs because it's able to reduce all 3 of those pathologies at the same time. Ultimately, the goal is to be able to get folks back to work, kids back to school, and athletes back on the field quicker and safer. And we do not want to see these chronic long-term consequences like post-concussion syndrome to occur. So we believe if we can treat this immediately on the field of play, continuously for 2 weeks after, that we'll be able, hopefully, to prevent some of the long-term consequences of concussion as well.
Anything to help the players out for sure. My question is, has the NFL adopted this just yet? Have they been looking at it? Has the NCAA looked at this? Has the Athletic Commission of High Schools, have they looked at this? Where do you stand with it?
So we're excited now to have announced an agreement with Odyssey Group International. Their symbol is ODYY, and we're so excited because they bring with them immediately the funding to be able to start and finish the phase 1 clinical trials. And that's key. Once we've got that clinical trial data from phase 1, we'll be able to have a much more in-depth conversation with the NFL, the NCAA, and as we enter into phase 2. So I think that is on the horizon once we can get this phase 1 behind us in the next, let's say, 6 to 9 months.
All right, we'll continue to watch that. Brett, I want to go back to you on this point. This has been a trying year for everyone at home. Sports is something that unifies us, specifically the NFL, and brings us all together. Yet it's been so polarized if you've watched. Number one, there hadn't been anyone in the stands in certain cities. Now we finally, in the Super Bowl, we've allowed about 25,000 in there. Even down to the commercials that we've seen during the Super Bowls have taken a political stance, if you will, and so has the NFL. I'm just curious on what you've seen and the times you've played and where we are with the NFL today in such a staunch political climate where it seems that everyone is taking a stance in one direction or another. What are your thoughts on that? And sports is supposed to be the unifying thing that brings us all together, and in some ways it separated us this year.
Yeah, I would certainly agree that if anything, it's created more division in some respects than unity. But I do think that sports, football in particular, is a kind of a galvanizing sport in itself. And people really needed football this year, needed sports. And I thought the NFL did a wonderful job of navigating through all the pandemic stuff and the rioting and protest and just playing football. And I didn't think that they could make it work and have a Super Bowl, especially without fans for the most part. But they were able to make it work. And I think that they have done a wonderful job, again, of doing that. And I tend to think that times will get better. And it seemed like to me, other than the pandemic, that football in itself was about football this year and less about other things.
All right, we'll leave it right there. I appreciate your response on that. Yeah, I'm a big fan, by the way, Brett, so I appreciate you coming on. Absolutely. Dr. Jacob Van Landingham, thank you so much for your time, and Brett Favre joining us live. Thank you very much, guys. Have a great day.
Thanks.
Hi, Emma Reckenberg here. If you like this video, there's a whole lot more to see on Newsmax TV. You can watch for free right here on our YouTube live stream and be the first one here each time our experts break down real news. Just hit that subscribe button, ring the bell icon, and stay with us on America's fastest growing cable news channel, Newsmax TV.